I'll go ahead and let Steven introduce himself.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. My name is Steven. I'm the founder of Green Zone Safaris, a company that specializes in East African safaris. So we do countries of Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania. So in case you wanted to get that African dream of getting closer to amazing wildlife, we are here to answer all your needs. Amanda, can I start sharing? Okay.
Of course, go ahead, grab the screen share, it's all yours.
So I'm glad to be here with everyone. Most people are interested to go for that East African safari. I want to thank everyone, Amanda and the team, for bringing this moment. About me, the name is, as I said, Steven Tomusange. I'm the founder of and director of Green Zone Safaris. In brief about me, I was born and raised in Uganda, so that's where I grew up from. I had a passion of watching birds. That was like number one on my list. So before I knew it, as I was trying to watch more and more and look for more birds around the gardens, around people's compounds, around the forest, then I was introduced into wildlife, because as you're trying to get more birds, in most cases you have to encounter different kind of wildlife in the jungle or in the national park. So with education, I graduated with an accounting degree. My career was working with the aviation, which was a super perfect job, but for some reasons, because career was versing my passion, I could not work for many years. So I decided to join the safari business, and that was the beginning of Green Zone Safaris way back in 2012. And we started up by doing trips around Uganda. That was our initial safari destination. As time went on, we introduced our services to Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. Reason because we had traveled a lot to those countries, and we wanted to share our own experiences with the people who wanted to know more about East Africa. So my hobbies as a person, the number one thing is bird watching. I really like seeing birds. I really wanna go. Yeah, I can see someone saying yes. So yeah, I love looking out for birds. So the other thing is photography. Every time I go out for birding, I really want to take photos. I really want to meet new people, and I really want to read travel materials. So that is about me. So my favorite bird is called the great blue turako, which you can see in photo there. It is a very beautiful bird. I like it because it was the first bird that I spotted as a profession tour guide or a bird guide. So I really like that bird so much. It just brings back the memories. And then when it comes to animals, I really love all animals, all kind of animals and wildlife. But when it comes to mountain gorillas, I'm always thrilled. I always want to be in front of these gentle giants as I see them carrying their babies on their backs, as I see the silverbacks taking control of their family. So it is always an ending experience whenever I go out for mountain gorilla trekking, so making it my number one favorite animal. So today we are discussing, or I'm presenting about the East African region. I know for many of you, or for some of you, it should be your first time to hear about East Africa. So East Africa is located, as you hear about East Africa, is located in the eastern side of the African continent, and it has countries of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. So that is just a brief map showing you how East Africa looks like. And then its destinations, as I said, include Uganda, which is called the Pearl of Africa because of its natural wonders that it has to offer to the public. One of them is the country that has the highest number of different bird species, and then the country that has the best scenery in East Africa, at the same time having the biggest number of gorilla population and also the primates. So that one enough just makes it to be called the Pearl of Africa, according to the people who travel to it way back. They named it as the Pearl of Africa. And then the other country is Rwanda, nicknamed as the land of thousand hills. Of course, everywhere you go to Rwanda, if you want to be buried in nature, as you can see in the pictures in my background, you can go to Rwanda. So it has a lot of lush green mountains that are rolling almost everywhere. On top of that, it has the endemic golden monkeys, which you can only see in Rwanda. Of course, Uganda offers you the opportunity, but still Rwanda has been the best destination. Then on top of that, it also has the mountain gorillas. It gives you a wonderful gorilla experience if you want to see the mountain gorillas. If not in Uganda, Rwanda is there to answer your needs. Then they also have what we call the top of the forest canopy walk that will help you to see the top of the forest. You enjoy the greenish of the volcanic forest, which is going to give you a very, very good memorable experience. So the other country is of course Tanzania, nicknamed as the unforgettable. I know this one, with many people, they're like, yeah, we really want to go there. So Tanzania is basically known as the land of Kilimanjaro, which is the African highest mountain peak, and also it has the Serengeti, which has been featuring as UNESCO #1 safari destination. Years and years it has been happening. And then it has the Ngorongoro crater, which is like one of the nature wonders of the world. So if you want to see the classic wildlife, the wildebeest migration, the top of mountain Kilimanjaro, which is ice capped, you have to go to Tanzania. So this is a super awesome destination. And then the other country that we always focus on is Kenya, nicknamed as Michael Kenya. Kenya, just as Tanzania, is known for the beautiful unending wildlife. The endless Masai Plains will always give you the best of the wildlife experience. When it comes to the wildebeest migration, 2.5 million animals taking this annual journey when their animals are trying to look for pasture, looking for water. So they take this epic journey that has been memorable. Many people always want to go and watch the crossing, which is like the top of the entire activity, but this journey starts month and month and month. So if you want to be buried in this experience, you have to always look at the Masai Mara and the Serengeti in Tanzania, where the journey starts from. And on top of that, these two destinations, Tanzania and Kenya, are going to give you the best opportunity to see the African Big Five. When we mention about the African Big Five, we are talking about the elephants, we are talking about the buffalo, we are talking about the rhinos, we are talking about the leopard, and the lions, the big cats. So if you want to do something with the big cats, big animal population, these destinations are going to be there for you. So I want to go to my next slide. Yeah, so of course many people always ask, why East Africa regarded as the best safari destination? To me, I think, still not thinking, but it's indeed the best safari destination on the African continent for some reasons. One of them is it offers the best classic safaris with its rolling grasslands, which is home to different wildlife species. I mean, other destinations like South Africa, they offer classic wildlife. Northern Africa, people try it with some different kind of wildlife. But in East Africa, it's open savanna, meaning that you have chances and chances of viewing wildlife from miles and miles and miles without having to stretch your neck, without having to go through bushes, without going through different kind of forest. I mean, the open savanna just gives you the best opportunity to do the game viewing, which makes East Africa a super awesome destination. And then when we talk about the culture, it has one of the most unique cultures. Talk about the Maasai warriors. These people can show you around how the Serengeti, how the Masai Mara life used to be before these places were gazetted into national parks. Their culture is indeed enriching, and it has a lot to discover for any kind of traveler who wants to learn about the African culture. And then the other thing is it is home to one of the best safari parks, that is the Masai Mara and Serengeti. As I said, they keep featuring on National Geographic Channel, they keep featuring in most travel globes. So this one makes East Africa to be the best safari destination. And then when we talk about birds, someone here is like, wow, birds. East Africa has like the biggest bird population on the entire continent. I mean, one country like Uganda has more than 1,000 different bird species. So this one makes it the best bird destination if you're looking out for birds. And then the other thing is the source of the Nile. Everyone knows that the longest river in the world is River Nile. So East Africa is the source of River Nile. So if you want to see where this river starts its journey all the way to the Mediterranean Sea, you have to come to East Africa. And then also it is home to Lake Victoria, which is the second inland freshwater body on planet. It is also home to Africa's deepest lake, which is Lake Tanganyika, which you can find in Tanzania. Africa's highest mountain peak, which is Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, is also found in East Africa. And when we talk about foods, East Africa is like the food basket for the entire continent. And when we talk about food, we don't have anything that is called GMO. Everything is organic when you come to East Africa. So you should just come and enjoy that experience. And then the other thing is about accommodation. I mean, if you're a safari goer, in most cases people are so concerned about where am I going to stay. East Africa provides you with a variety, from simple tents to canvas walls to simple bandas to luxurious hotels to luxurious lodges. Everything is going to be in East Africa. And of late, for people who are looking for super luxury, Marriott opened up a very good facility in Masai Mara, which will be starting its operation in 2020 February. So East Africa has it all in everything when it comes to accommodation for any safari goer. So what does it mean to go for an African safari? You know, I think everyone who is here must have thought about going for an African safari after watching National Geographic documentary or any kind of travel documentary, because most of them are being done from East Africa. So there are two things which you have to expect. One is you find everything, or you may not find everything that you see. Going for an African safari, each day is different. It's not like going for a zoo. We are trying to see animals in their nature wild. We don't make appointments with the animals, but we just try to follow their tracks to see if you can see anything. And for those ones who are basing, they are going to East Africa on the National Geographic channel video production. I want to tell you that these productions take years and months before they can come up with that production. So it means if you want to see a lot, at times you have to spend a lot of time in East Africa. But I mean, each day is very different. You can end up seeing everything in just one day, or in 3 days, or even a month. So you either see or you will not see. So there is always a chance, but still that experience of looking for animals is going to be very easier. Oh, very easy, as I said. So the other thing is tips. If you want to go and have the best safari experience, what you have to do before you go, I could say always do some research about a safari destination. It is always good to read about where you're going. Yes, we understand our guides are fully equipped with the knowledge, but if you have prior knowledge before you arrive, it is going to be a very good experience for you. And then the other thing is always develop a good relationship with your guide from the word go. These guys know each and everything about East Africa. They know all the tracks, they know all the animals, they know all the birds, they know all the cultures, they know all the routes. So if you have that very good relationship with him, you have higher chances of seeing the best of East Africa. And then the other thing is always state your expectation to your guide. The moment you arrive, when you're having that initial conversation with the guide, tell them what you want to see. What is your main focus for coming for the African trips? Different people have different priorities. As I said, me, I'm a birder. The moment I see a guide, I'm going to tell him I want to see as many birds as I can. One person will say I want to see as many big cats as I can. So you have to always tell your guide such that he keeps his focus in that specific area of your interest. If you're a photographer, let them know at the very beginning. Then the other thing is always be mindful and respectful to different culture do's and don'ts. Of course, Africa is a continent that has different cultures. They believe in different things. Some things are expected not to be done in public, others expected to be done in public. Some things are forbidden, though not punishable. For example, in East Africa, kissing in public is regarded as something that should be separative. So if they see you kissing, of course no one will punish you, but to many people it looks to be not normal. It is unusual to happen in public. So you always have to know the do's and don'ts of different cultures. And then the other thing is don't over focus on wildlife and big cats. Many people always say I want to see the big cats. East Africa has a lot to offer on top of the big cats and wildlife. Always focus on other things like the landscape, which are always very good. Also focus on visiting local communities such that you get that experience of the locals, which is also going to add some good experience at the end of your safari. The other thing is, how can I get to East Africa? Of course, many people ask you, isn't it very far? I can say from New York to East Africa, that flight will take you like 13 hours or 14 hours. But for those ones who don't want to go for long haul flights, you can always take a flight that has a break in Europe, so you can say take like 6 hours from say New York to Europe, depending on the destination you're going in Europe, and another 7 hours you'll be in East Africa. So there are a couple of international airlines. I mentioned a few. You can take Emirates, you can take Qatar Airways, you can take Turkish, KLM, SN Brussels, British Airways, KQ, Rufasa, just to mention, but just there are very many. So upon arrival, you'll be met by your guide and you'll be transported to either your hotel. Depending on your safari plan, you could probably drive straight to your destination, depending on how the plan was scheduled, but you have someone to receive you at the airport. So on arrival, of course, you'll go through the immigration process. That is the visa and everything. So you have always to carry your passport, don't forget, and it has to be 6 months valid to be given access to the East African region. So the best time to book and when to book, depending on the type of trip that you're doing. I can say it is always possible to book anytime that you want. You can book today when you're going tomorrow. It is always possible. But if you want that very good experience, you have to book in time. For example, as I mentioned here, for gorillas and primate safaris, the demand is always too much. It overpowers the supply. So we always advise people to at least book 4 to 6 months in advance. Reason, we have very few mountain gorillas remaining in the wild, and not all gorillas can be seen. We only take you to see the gorillas that have been habituated, and these groups are limited. So since we have like limited number of habituated groups, it means that the demand is too high. So the earlier you book your permit, the better. Last minute gorilla permit booking is kind of complicated. You can either get, but the chances of missing on this activity are high if you book like 2 weeks or 1 month before your travel. For wildlife safaris, I mean, that one is, everything is okay. The main issue is getting the suitable accommodation, because many people always want to stay closer to the national parks or stay within. In most cases, the facilities within the national parks are always sold out in time. So I always advise people to do earlier booking, which can be done 4 months in advance when it comes to booking. So for gorillas, 6 months, and for wildlife, it was always advisable a minimum of 4 months when you're booking. So many people still ask, when is it the best time to travel? Of course, we have 2 seasons in Africa. We have the rainy season, which we call the cold season, and also have the sunny season, since we are in the tropics. We don't have winter, we don't have spring, so it's just the 2 seasons. So the dry seasons, which is June up to September, that is the best time to travel. Reason, animals are moving around trying to look for water holes, they're trying to look for pastures, and then the grass is down, the pasture is down, so you can easily do game viewing from a distance without going through a lot of bushes. So that is the very best time to travel. And then the other best time to travel is between December and March. When it comes to other months that you should avoid, always avoid April and May. It is always raining in East Africa. Always avoid mid-October all the way to November. It is still a wet season, but that one doesn't mean that you cannot go for a safari. When it rains, it doesn't rain the entire day. It can rain in the morning. The same way you can see here that if it is winter, it's not going to snow the entire winter season. So there are chances of either snowing or not snowing. So the same thing applies to East Africa. Even in a rainy season, we encourage people to come and see what East Africa has to offer. And this is always the best season, because you always have the best deals when it comes to accommodation, and then you're going to enjoy the park without having very many people around you, and you're also going to enjoy other unique activities, like the calving season always happens during this period of time. So there is always a lot to watch in any season, though the other 2 seasons are always advised because of the good weather and perfect weather for game viewing. So when it comes to visa requirement, of course, the average is always between $50 and $100 for all the 4 in East African countries. However, we have what we call the East African visa. This one can be got at $100, meaning that if you're doing a 2-country tour, say you're doing Uganda and Rwanda, you don't need to pay 2 times for a visa. You have to pay once if you arrive, say, for example, in Rwanda. And this visa can take you through Uganda, Kenya. It doesn't go to Tanzania. Tanzania is not part of this arrangement, so at least just covers you through those 3 East African countries. The visas can be applied for online, which I always advise people to do, or they can be received on arrival. But of course, if you want to make the entire experience easier for you, always apply online before you arrive. So the other thing is all about the vaccination needed. Of course, in today's world, almost everyone is talking about the vaccinations. Right now, COVID vaccination is not a mandate. Though it's not a mandate to access East Africa. However, proof of yellow fever vaccine is a must for all the four countries. So always think about your yellow fever booklet before you travel to East Africa, because that is the first thing they're going to ask before they even ask for your passport. And then you're always advised to carry anti-malarial drugs or mosquito repellents, just for a case there is no vaccine for malaria, but these are areas that tropics where there are so many mosquitoes, so you're just advised to carry the anti-malarial drugs just in case. So when it comes to what to pack, everyone is like, yeah, I'm going for a safari, what do you think I should take? The first thing is the passport. Without a passport, you're not in position to access this beautiful part of the continent. Proof of your fever vaccination, as I mentioned earlier. Cash is a king in East Africa, because you're going to be traveling from big cities going into remote places where these national parks are located. Remember, national parks are put in places that are gazetted. No, they don't want a lot of developments in such places to keep them natural and protected from environmental degradation. So you're not going to find very many ATMs. So you're always advised to carry cash on yourself, if you're carrying dollar bills, make sure you carry 2006 and above. They don't accept something below that. 2005, you get problems with it when it comes to exchanging the money. So always take caution of that about that. When it comes to what you should put on, the color should be neutral. Khaki is advised, light brown is advised, greenish is advised, and tan. Of course, shouting colors are not good for an African safari, more so if you're going for a walking experience. Reason, it scares away the animals, puts the animals on a rampage. More so if it is red, they associate red with death, so they don't want to deal with red color. So always put on cool colors. Always carry your cameras, because you always want to come up with and share with your friends what you saw in East Africa. Binoculars, reason, not every time you're going to get so closer to the wildlife. Off tracking or driving off the main road is totally prohibited. So at times you're going to spot animals from a distance, and the only way to get a closer look will be by use of your binoculars. Then mosquito repellents, as I told you, we are in the tropics, anything can happen, so just need a repellent. Hats, of course, at times gonna be kind of hot. Waterproof pants and shoes, most when it comes to gorilla trekking, you need to carry those ones. Simple open sandals, you're on your lodge taking a simple walk around your lodge in big cities, you can just put on your simple sandals. And of course, anything that makes you feel comfortable, you're free to carry. But the other issue you have to put in mind is don't overpack when you're going for the safari experience. So that's all about the East African safaris, and then about our company. So the company, as I said, is Green Zone Safaris LLC. We're both African registered and also registered in America. So we have a very good extensive network of reliable base service providers in the tourism industry. This is because we have been there before. We grew up from those places, so we know who provides the best accommodation, who provides the best laundry, who provides the best food. So everything we just know because we have all those local connections. So our tours are both tailor-made and customized. So we do customize because we always want to cater for that uniqueness that you're looking for in your trip. So tailor-made is for those who want to do offshore shopping, but customize if you really want to make it yours. We are happy to do that. So we just have, our mission is to ensure that each of our clients has a unique and unforgettable African experience. That is what we put at the forefront. So we treat every client in a special way because we believe that everyone has a special need when it comes to going to the East African safari. Then, of course, our vision is to become one of the best and most recognizable brands when it comes to providing East African safaris, and we are so proud of that. We know we are almost getting there. So the other thing is about our guides. Of course, despite the fact that the safari destination can be extremely beautiful, the food can be very good, the hotels can be very good, but the person who's going to take you through all that experience has to be experienced. So that's why we are here to say that our guides have a very long experience in the East African region. Most of them have like minimum of 15 years of experience in guiding in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. The other thing is they are very passionate about their job. I mean, to me, passion is always the leading thing. So if you have someone who's so passionate about what he's doing, it means he's always willing to give you the best. So that's all about our guides. And on top of that, we also look at the gender issue. We have those specific clients who want to say, I want to travel with a lady who should be my guide. So we cater for that. We also have ladies who are very good tour guides. So we cater for every kind of needs when it comes to the guide. Then the other thing is, how do I get to the destination? I've taken my flight all the way from US to East Africa. What happens next? So you have to travel from one destination to another. In East Africa, it's not going to be one safari park. Most people visit like a couple of national parks, and how to get there is going to be the cars. So with our company, we are so proud to say that we have like some of the best 4x4 safari jeeps. What makes them special is they have comfortable seats that are going to make you feel comfortable all through your journeys. They have large windows which are very good for game viewing. They are built to suit all the African terrains. I'm telling you, you're going to at one point experience what we call the African massage as you're trying to drive on the corrugated roads as you're going to some of the national parks. So we cater for that. And then we make sure that all these cars are frequently serviced and maintained to ensure that we don't get any breakdowns during your trip. And then they have also what we call the pop-up ropes, as you can see in some of the photos. The pop-up just helps you to stand and do the game viewing without getting out of the car. And at the same time, if you have your camera, you can still press the camera on the body of the car and enjoy the game viewing as you're driving. And then the other thing is air condition, because we believe at times it's going to be hot, so we cater for that. So that's all about our cars. We make sure that they are in very good conditions to take you through around East African region. Then the other thing is all about our social and environmental responsibilities. Of course, we believe tourism cannot exist without good environment protection. Today we are in the tourism business because of what we are having, the forests, the national parks, but without them, there will be no tourism. And on top of that, we consider ourselves as not being the last generation on earth, so we want even the coming generations to enjoy what we the current generation is enjoying. So it's not all about saying that we are involved in planting trees as many companies brag, but for us, we go an extra mile to educate our people about the dangers of environmental degradation. For example, we tell them that the current climate change or prolonged droughts is happening because people are cutting down trees. So once people know that if I cut down trees, we are going to experience long droughts, they are going to stop doing environmental degradation activities. Then we also encourage travelers to take more trips, because by doing so, it means you're creating more job opportunities for the locals. And if they have more job opportunities, they will not look at environment, or they will not look at nature as a source of survival. So for someone who is considering to go in for lumbering, once he has a job as a local guide, he will not have time for that. So we just keep encouraging people that the more you travel, the more you're contributing to environmental protection. So that is what we keep at the forefront. So the other thing is, where will I stay in case I went to East Africa? That is always a very good question, or a very big concern to people. So with our company, we partner with very reputable brands, both local and international. As I mentioned earlier alone, we have a very good local network, so we know who has opened up which facility. We send in our team to do the farm trips to find out, does it really suit the standards of our clients. The other thing is it eco-friendly and is it in a perfect location? So we always consider all those ones. And then on top of that, East Africa has a variety of safari lodges, from safari camps if you want to go in a safari camp, if you want to go in simple bandas, if you want to go in a 5-star lodge, like we do organize for a couple of those ones. So with your budget, just know we are there to cater for you, because we know whom to contact in case we got like a client who's looking with a specific budget. So with that, you're all covered. Still on lodges, we always consider the location. We always want to make it sure that you live closer to the national parks, you live closer to nature, you live closer to these natural wonders of the world, such that you don't have to drive a long distance. from your hotel, from your lodge to go into these safari parks. And at the end of the day, we only partner with those ones who are taking an extra mile to do environmental protection. So the other thing that many people asked me about was how we managed to survive the COVID. Yes, we understand that COVID almost made most of our colleagues, or whom I can call the competitors, to exit the market. Yeah, it wasn't good news for everyone. We suffered the same, like lots of problems, more so financially. But for us, it wasn't all about the finances. As I can say, what made us to go into this business was not all about the money. It was the passion. We are so passionate about tourism. We are so passionate about nature. We are so passionate about everything regarding travel. So the moment you wake up every day, you do something that you love, something that makes you happy, there is no way you can say, I'm going to resign or I'm going to quit. So with that in mind, there is no way we are going to exit the market, because COVID was there, but our passion was never eaten up by COVID. So the other thing was, some of our clients never canceled their reservations or their bookings, they just postponed. So we could not exit because we had all those engagements. We never wanted to disappoint our clients. And then the other thing was keeping our team together, keeping them motivated. This was the time when we had to do more farm trips, that came, of course, with some remuneration. So by doing these farm trips, it meant that no one was bored, no one was depressed that, oh, I should look for another kind of field to go and join. I should look for another job. They knew that there was hope because they were most of the time active. So this one also kept us in business despite the fact that COVID was there. So yeah, those are some of the picks which we had when our team was out. This time around, we were the tourists, they were the clients. Instead of sitting behind our computers and organize trips for people, we use this time to just keep them motivated by telling them, okay, it is your time also to go out and enjoy nature as you always do it for other people. The other thing, if you want to connect with us, of course, those are what we have. You can reach out on me, you can reach out on us via those links that I have down there. And with all that said, I'm happy to end my presentation here. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for attending. Uh, this time I can welcome any kind of question, any concern that you have.
Wow, that was awesome, Stephen. Thank you so much. If everyone would like to join me in giving him a virtual round of applause in the chat, because that was truly, truly wonderful. We do have a lot of wonderful and really interesting questions that came in. So Stephen, if that's okay with you, I will start asking and we can just go from there. Sound good? Okay, perfect. So the first question I have, is Swahili the most spoken language throughout all or just certain parts? Is English an official second language for travelers to get by? So,
Okay, I'll take that.
mhm.
Surprisingly, Swahili is not the most spoken. Yes, very many people speak Swahili, but English is spoken in most parts of East Africa. It's like the official language for most of the East African countries. Even those ones that were speaking French, like Rwanda, they are adopting to English. So Swahili came in as a result of intermarriages between the Arabs that came into East Africa to do that trading. So it was a mode of communication between them and the people who lived at the coastline. So it was widely spoken at the coastline cities of Mombasa and Dar es Salaam, and later it started spreading and it is used as a business language. In some areas like Uganda, people associate Swahili to people working in the security. It's like a mode of communication for almost everyone working in the army, working in the police. So yes, it is spoken, but it doesn't take a very big percentage as English does.
Awesome. Thank you. Next question. I kind of had this question too. So whoever asked this, thank you. Is it ever possible to join a safari with short notice? So, I mean, can you get on a wait list, or is there any way to like pop in on a short notice?
Yeah, as I said, everything is possible. We always plan. and things happen, and people always make last minute plans. Me myself always do that, so it is highly possible. And you can always get the very best experience even on last minute booking. The only thing that I mentioned is the probability of missing out on very good accommodation if it is a high season. But still, even a high season, we do always have our partners that we always call and ask them, do you think you have a provision for this? If they say yes, we shall be glad. If they say no, still we shall look for the very best option that will make your safari experience. So it is always possible. The only thing that I said, it is always with gorillas. The chances are high that you're going to miss out. But still, when you reach out on me, I know whom to contact directly and ask them about the availability. Some companies do overbooking of these permits and they have to put them on a resale. So still, you can get a chance of seeing the gorillas even on last minute booking.
Awesome. Interesting. Yeah. For those of us last minute people, that's great news. Okay, next question. Is East African food similar to Ethiopian? Which proteins are the most common?
I can say there is slightly a difference because every part of East Africa that you go to has its own staple food. Different cultures and tribes have their own staple food. So I can say what people eat in Ethiopia is more similar to what people eat in northern Kenya because they are kind of connected. But I can say the foods can be the same, but the way they are prepared is different. So that is the main thing. It will be the same food. It could be like same beef but prepared in a different way. So, but the food will remain the same food. It would be fish but prepared in a different way by how Ethiopians do it and how Kenyans do it and how Ugandans do it, but it will remain fish. Yeah.
Okay, next up we have, is going to Hell's Gate National Park worth going if you've done a safari at Masai Mara? How many days should one spend at a safari?
How long you spend on a safari always depends on different reasons. It could be your budget. It could be the number of days, the vacation days that you have. Going to Hell's Gate is another added experience after going to the Masai Mara because, as I said, each park has a unique experience. So yes, it is highly advised for you to go to the Hell's Gate after visiting the Masai Mara. Number of days, we always recommend at least a minimum of 4 days to get the best safari experience. For example, if you're visiting the Masai Mara and you want to visit the Hell's Gate, it is always going to be 4 to 5 days to get that very good experience. And then if you're looking for gorilla trekking, still it is going to be at a minimum of 3 days or 4 days. If you want to combine wildlife with another activity, it is always going to be an average of 6 days. So to me, minimum of 4 days, average of 8 days, maximum is always unlimited. Yeah.
Cool. So our next question is it possible to get vegetarian food on the safaris?
Highly possible. As I said, East Africa is a food basket for the entire African region. Vegetables are almost everywhere. And on top of that, even we do cater for special diets. So if you have anything like you're allergic to something, you can let us know that in advance as we are planning. If you're gluten-free, please let us know. Most of the lodges are happy to provide you with that. But for vegetables, if you're a vegetable lover, just know you're going to your paradise.
Okay, so the next question, and we had a couple questions kind of come in about this. So maybe if you could just ballpark us. So say you are going on like a 4 to 6 day safari, what would be some typical costs? So for a budget option, a mid-range option, or the luxury option, what would those ballpark look like in, I guess, dollars?
Okay, I can say, as a company, we have our baseline of 2,500 for wildlife trips budget. That's where we start from. And then we have a baseline of 3,500 for gorillas and primates. That is 6 days experience. And then that is budget. Of course, if you want to elevate it and say, I want to, something more, I wanted to fly in because you have that provision of instead of you traveling by, you can just fly from the an airstrip in a main city and land in the middle of the national park. So that one can be, instead of 3,500, we're going to make it 4,500. And if you're looking for luxury, of course, it's going to be 55 and above, because some people see in luxury, some people are looking for extremely super deluxe. So, but luxury always starts at 55 and above for 6 days, 4 days, and 8 days.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so the next two questions, oh, sorry, this is just the next question. This has to do with tipping in East Africa. What are some customary tipping guidelines? Is it $1 or euro amount per day, or a certain percent for the booked total of the trip?
Our prices don't include a tipping cost. We always say in our East African culture, tipping is like a gift and it comes from one's heart, depending on your appreciation on how someone has served you. But professionally, they advise they set like at least a minimum of $10 per day for your guide. So that is like the uniform way. $10 for your guide. It can be above that, depending on how impressed you are with your guide. But at least we recommend at least $10, a minimum of $10 per day. So if it is like 4 days, it should be like $40. If it is 10 days, it should be like $100. It can be as much as that, but as I said, we don't restrict you from giving $10. It can be $5. Anything is highly appreciable for your guide.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. So the next two questions have to do with groups and kind of combining groups. So I'll ask them both and maybe you can just clarify on this all together. The first question was, do all of your trips charge a single supplement, or is it possible to be matched with another single? So could two solo travelers, I think this is the question, could two solo travelers be matched together? And the second question is, are there group tours combining people who don't know each other, or do you only do custom tours for prearranged groups? So can you ever join a group, I guess, with other solo travelers or other couples?
Initially, before the pandemic, we used to do it a lot. Group tours where people who didn't know each other would always meet at the airport. I personally, I enjoy doing those trips, but after spending years and years of doing them, we had to drop that off and concentrate on private groups or people who knew each other, or people are coming from the same destination for some reasons. One of them, you will never match people's likes. You're always going to get either a good experience or a bad experience because everyone is looking for something. Someone's going to tell you, I came into this trip when my focus is photography. Someone's going to be there and tells you, oh, I traveled all the way from Croatia and my entire stuff or my entire liking is on wildlife. So it was kind of hard to bring people together and make them love one thing during a group tour. So what resorted to was private groups. It could be a very big group, but these are people know each other. For example, the nomads, they just came and we are 10 people. 15 people are coming from the same area. We know what to, regardless of how big the size is, so long as it is a private group, that is what we are doing at that moment. So we no longer match people together because of the problems that we experienced in the past. It was very hard to make someone share a room with someone from a different destination because people have different cultures, people have different ways of living, so we would always get issues. So for some reasons, we had to put that aside.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and I would suggest to the folks who are curious about that, if you're not on the Nomadic Network website yet, there are tons of groups for solo travelers and stuff like that. So it would be a great idea to just comment in there. If you're looking for some other solo travelers to do an event like this with, you might find someone who's equally interested in booking an experience with you. Next question, are there some safaris offered that do not require long distance walking?
Yeah, sure, they are there. As I said, that once you mention it during the initial stages of your safari preparations, we cater for everything that you mentioned. For some people, they'll say, I want something that is just so close to the city. I don't want to go too far. So we cater for all those needs.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then what is so I think we've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but what is the typical amount of people on each tour? I think what you said is that it's however many people you book in the group together is.
Yeah, as I said, for the best experience, it is always good to travel with someone, sharing experiences. And when cost-wise is the best way to make the trip look cheaper, as I say that our baseline can be 3,500, but if you're traveling with someone, it's going to be 3,300, and if you're traveling with a group of say 4 and others, it's actually going to be 3,000 flat. So we don't have like that we always say okay, at least minimum of 2 people, but if you want to travel as a solo traveler, we cater for that, but we don't have any limits when it comes to the sizes. But one thing you have to know, that always take advantages of traveling in big groups, or for example say a group of 4, group of 6, because you're going to end up paying less for your trip.
Great to know. Thank you. All right. Can you suggest places to visit before or after a safari? This is a 2-part question. Can you suggest places to visit before or after a safari? Is there enough infrastructure to backpack in East Africa, or are tours recommended? And how easy or hard is it to be vegan there? And they also said, thank you for a great presentation, which I think we can all agree.
So backpacking is highly possible in East Africa. There are many places that really, welcome backpackers, so you shouldn't be worried about that. Come again, the next question. I think that question had like lots of thing.
Let me unmute myself. Yes. So the second part to that question was, how easy or hard is it to be vegan there? And then the other question was, can you suggest places to visit before or after the safari?
Yeah, in most cases, before the safari, we always recommend, for example, if you arrive prior to your safari date, we always recommend that you take the city experience. Take a city tour. If it is Nairobi, it has a lot to offer. It has like a national park in the middle of the city, so it's going to give you that very good experience. Take an opportunity to visit a local market where you're going to see fresh foods being sold. Try out the food tours within the city. That is what we highly recommend. If you're in a destination like say Rwanda, they have like a genocide memorial center. They have cultural centers which you can just go and visit on your first days of that tour before you start actually your safari. And then after that trip, we always recommend that you always visit the local communities, because they do have a lot to offer and you learn a lot from their experiences.
Absolutely. So this next question is, do you have Jeeps without sidewalls?
Most of our jeeps have side doors, but in the process we are working on a new fleet that is coming without side doors for photographers. We want to focus a lot on photograph, but even in case when somebody really needs it and it's not available with us, we can do a private hire for you and you get it on your trip. But in the coming few years, I think probably next year, we shall be having those jeeps without side doors for only those ones we don't want to be enclosed in the entire jeep.
Wonderful. We did have a few more come in on the chat since we've been talking, so I'll just go ahead and check those out really quick. Concerning the malaria pills, when you say you have to have them with you, my doctor recommended starting them a few days before embarking on the trip and continue through the trip and a few days afterwards. I'm not sure that that was a question, but could you confirm that about the malaria pills?
Yeah, for anti-malaria pills, we just recommend that you carry them. If your doctor tells you, always check with your PCP and ask him on what to do. Of course, they always have the best advice. Usually, when I go for a trip, I'll take them before that trip and then immediately after that trip. That was with me. But for some people, if your doctor tells you to take them even during that trip, please just follow what the healthcare provider tells you to do. Yeah.
Great. Are African wild dogs in East Africa, and is it easy to see them?
If you want to see the African wild dogs, which we call the hardcore hunters because they never give up, yeah, you can see them in East Africa. The best place to see them is Serengeti. Yeah.
Are there any options that involve more physical activity rather than a lot of riding in the vehicle? So more like, I guess, hiking, more physical type tours.
Yeah, I can say we have activities like mountaineering. If you want to climb the summit of Mountain Kilimanjaro, you're more than welcome. That is, it is going to make you more active. Activities like gorilla trekking, you're not going to do gorilla trekking when you stay in your car. I'm happy to share with you that your guide or your jeep will just drive you to the starting point. After briefing, you're going to join your guide, and it's going to be a long walk in the forest. Remember, these are endangered species. No roads, just have to create paths with your guide. It's going to be between 3 hours to a maximum of 6 hours, depending on the location of where the gorilla family stayed the last night. And at times it's going to take 8 hours. So it's gonna be a physical, it's gonna make you like more active. And we also have what we call walking safaris in some of the safari parks. That is, for example, in Lake Mburo in Uganda, it's the only place where you can have a walking safari. Very safe with your ranger. You can also go for horse riding still in the national park. So we have a couple of activities that you can do without sitting in the safari jeep.
Cool. And then the next question kind of goes along with this. What would you say the best country to do a walking safari is? Your favorite
Uh,
country for a walking safari?
the best country to do a walking safari, as I said, Uganda. You're going for gorilla trekking, it's going to be a walking safari. You're going for chimpanzee trekking, it's going to be a walking safari. You're going for bird watching in the nearby swamps, it's going to be more walking. They have a park that has wild animals, but has been designed to help people to go for walking safaris with a ranger. So it's like one of the places where you're going to do more walking safaris when they are kind of safe. Other parks, I wouldn't advise you to go for a walking safari in the Serengeti because of the big cats. Masai Mara, same thing. Ngorongoro, same thing. But for Uganda, you're going to get that experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I think that that was all of our questions. I'm going to go ahead and drop in the chat box right now to everyone Stephen's contact info right here. You can, oh, we have one more question coming in. Oh, there it is. I see it. How much walking is required on the less active safari trip?
I can say it is always unpredictable, as I said. But I can say it should be like a minimum of 2 hours for a walking safari in that small national park that I mentioned. But if you're going for activities like gorilla trekking and chimpanzee trekking, it's always unpredictable. But what we always do is to talk to the rangers or talk to the guest or the client and ask them, are you ready for simple? Because we have simple, we have medium, and we have complicated. Simple means you're going to visit a group, the gorilla family that is very near, not far away from the park headquarters. And if you want to go for medium, you're going to visit a family that is kind of far but not so far away. And then if you want to go for hard, you want to get that first experience, it's going to take you a couple of hours. How do we know it's simple or the groups are near? They always send in rangers before you start the gorilla tracking activities. They track these animals and they communicate with people at the head office and they tell them, hey, this family is like, say, 2 miles away from the starting point. The other family is 6 miles away. The other family is 15 miles away. So they will know where to put you, where the place that will suit you.
Perfect. And then the follow-up question from that one is, so can you accommodate people with disabilities?
Yeah, that one is very possible for other activities. As I said, mention it at the very beginning. We shall always make that special arrangement for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was so great. Again, I dropped all of Stephen's contact info in the chat box. So please make sure that you grab that and reach out. Stephen, that was wonderful. And if everyone wouldn't mind, stick around for just a minute. I have a couple of follow-up things from the Nomadic Network, and then I will bid you all good night. That was so great. Thanks again, Stephen.